Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hi. So I'm really sick at the moment, so I wanted to do something for you where I didn't have to like play with too much makeup or, you know, be very exciting. I just wanted to do something where I'm just really sick. So not that long ago, I filmed a reaction to Bella Thorne's makeup routine on Vogue, and you guys seem to really like that. So I thought what I'll do is do Kylie Jenner's today. She recently did a new makeup routine video, so I'm gonna watch that and just kind of go along and yeah, see what happens really. Let me just start off by saying I have very neutral feelings towards Kylie Jenner. I'm not a fan of hers because I don't know anything about her. I know she has a makeup range because I'm in makeup, so I know about that. I've never used any before. I don't watch the Kardashians and I don't keep up with any kind of celebrity news or anything like that because I just don't care. Let me just think about some comments that were left on my Bella Thorne video. So by doing this video, I don't mean to be anti-feminist. I don't mean to be like hating on her. I'm not saying that this is how you have to do your makeup, how she has to do her makeup, how everyone has to do their makeup. I'm not saying that this is absolutely how she should do her makeup. A lot of people love the saying makeup has no rules, but it absolutely does. However, there's no rules to creativity. So I'm gonna go through this and watch this as if I was to do her makeup as a professional makeup artist and what I would tweak and change. That isn't to say that what she's doing isn't nice, unless it is shit. But just before we get into that, if you don't know who I am, my name is Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist, not just here on YouTube, in real life as well. And it is my goal here on YouTube to help you become a pro yourself or just really good at makeup. So if that sounds like something for you, then please consider subscribing to my channel. Let's get straight into it. So I'm gonna skip past the skincare right to the makeup because she does a bit of skincare in this video. Yes, let's get into it.
I like to start with my face primer from my birthday collection. Love this primer. It is such a good primer and it just makes my makeup lay.
So actually, let me just start with this. This isn't a critique on her makeup or anything like that, but something I've noticed after watching her like review her own skincare or review her own makeup is that she won't explain why she likes something. So for example, if I had my own skincare range or my own primer, I would be like, this is such a good primer because it does this to your skin, it makes your makeup last longer because of this ingredient, which is good for this, which does, you know, you'll get a little bit more into it, where she sells it as, I love this primer because it's such a good primer. Just an observation, not a critique, anyway.
So much better. Primer on. I used to start with my brows, now I start with my foundation. And I'm using Luminous Silk Foundation. I love this foundation. I love how it makes my skin look. So I'm gonna do like 3 squirts of that in the color 6.5, and then I'm gonna do 1 squirt of 9. Then I'm gonna take this brush. It's a Kylie Cosmetics brush in number 6. I like this brush because I like how it, you know, really gets my foundation in there. So I'm kind of gonna like mix it with my brush. Go ahead and apply. I definitely feel like this is this.
It's so bad at describing things. Anyway, so that brush that she has, that's actually a really good option to use for foundation, especially liquid foundation. I'm so sorry for my nasally voice. But small, dense brushes like that give you a really good, quick, full coverage, but blend really well. So something like a really stubby powder brush is amazing for doing liquid foundation because it blends quickly. It really pushes the foundation onto the skin, but blends as well. So if you do want that full coverage, but really natural looking, that kind of option, that kind of brush is a really good one, a small stubby brush.
Combo is like my perfect match. So I just like to like blend it in really well.
That foundation does look really good on her. I wonder if there's a filter on this video because her skin looks flawless there. It looks really smooth. Maybe that's the primer that she likes.
In the morning. Okay, so now that I got a nice thin layer of foundation, I'm gonna use a beauty blender and just blend it in so there's no streaks from the brush.
So that's another really good step is to follow up foundation, any kind of foundation with a beauty blender, because like she said, no streaks, no uneven tone, especially if you've got some kind of texture in your skin, drier skin, pores that maybe brushes can interfere with. A beauty blender is a great way to even that out. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, she has her own makeup brand and she's had some amazing makeup artists work from her, so I'm sure she's picked up some amazing tips along the way.
Okay, so next step is my concealer. I'm using shade Maple right now. I don't like to use too much. And then I have some little imperfections there. I'm gonna do like just a little on my forehead. And
I'm just gonna stop it there. Obviously this concealer is to lighten under the eyes. And then she did say for a moment, I have an imperfection there, and she put this concealer on her imperfection. Here's the deal. I don't know where this kind of vicious rumor has come from, but people use a lighter concealer on their blemishes. When we lighten something, just like highlighting the skin, it's because we want it to kind of pop out. So we highlight our cheekbones to make them pop out. We highlight under our brow to kind of make this brow bone stand out. We do our nose here to thin it to make this stick out. So to put something lighter on a spot, especially when it's lighter than your skin tone, is to make that pop out as well. So I actually would have just, I mean, you probably couldn't see it. She could have probably used a little bit more of her foundation on there, but I would definitely have 2 or 3 different concealers. I would have my under eye concealers, I would usually use 2, and then a concealer for the face, which actually blends with her foundation, unless she's going to go on top with foundation. But still, I think with blemishes, you need to cover with foundation first, see if that covers, and then use a concealer that matches that foundation on top, because now she's going to have a light dot, unless she's going to bronze over it, but even still, you still get a little bit uneven. So there I would say to use a concealer or foundation that's the same colour as her skin, not the same colour as she's using to highlight under her eyes.
I'm also gonna take Himalaya and just do like 2 dots under my eyes. This has like a pink undertone, so I really feel like it cancels out any dark circles.
So that's true. That's very true, and I say that a lot. I said it instead of using a whole like orange colour corrector, you can actually get some really good pink undertone concealers that you can just stick under your eye to cancel out that blue tone. However, she's put her yellow tone concealer on top first. I mean, her under eyes aren't even dark, so this isn't really an issue for her, but it may be for other people. So we say that the tone under the eye is blue. When we say it's black or dark circles or purple, it's a tone of blue. So to put yellow on top of blue, you get green, which kind of goes grey on human skin. So that makes the dark and the grey tones darker and greyer and more apparent. Not on her, because she doesn't have dark circles, so this is a very unnecessary step for her. So then she has to use the pink again to colour correct, if that makes sense. Where she put the pink tone first, it will instantly cancel out the blue tone. So then she can just do a tiny bit of highlighter or something like that. So it's almost like those 2 techniques are backwards. So now she has to colour correct twice. I mean, so if you had darker circles, if you were to do this, you would have to colour correct the blue, then that green tone that you made, and then you're putting a pink tone, which might not blend with your skin tone, so then you then have to colour correct again with a yellow tone. So there's a lot of colour correctors going on, colour correcting to get it to blend, whereas if you just switch those 2 colours around, it will be absolutely fine.
What I have from not sleeping. So now I'm gonna go ahead and blend, blend, blend.
Again, that's great because she literally has no dark circles.
Stormy is actually super into makeup right now. It is amazing.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, now that we blended my concealer in, I'm gonna go and take my favorite setting powder in the entire world. First, I'm gonna do a light set with soft pink. I like to use this definitely for the under eye area because again, it has like a hue of pink, which I feel like cancels out my dark circle.
Okay, cute. A lot of you may know, if you've watched my videos, I absolutely despise baking. I think it's one of the most unnecessary, vile steps that people do in makeup now. I won't explain why, but you can watch a few videos, I'll link them below. I don't mind setting lightly under the eyes with a bit of powder, so this is really nice. So from what I've just seen, even just with concealer and foundation, she does her makeup in a very Instagram way, which I think means she is going to bake after this. So let's just see. That's all she needs though, that little bit of setting powder. Absolutely fine, which I still think is a bit unnecessary, but whatever.
And then I'm gonna take the Beauty Blender and translucent.
Okay.
And then when I do my eyeshadow, this will be a good base because I don't want my eyeshadow to fall under my eyes.
You can save so much time by just doing your eyeshadow first.
So I'm just pressing my translucent powder into the center of my forehead, under my nose, and the center of my chin. I also, I'm baking around my nose, so I'm gonna leave that there. And then I'm gonna take another brush and do a line down the center of my nose. And I feel like when you just bake like this, it really just perfects your makeup.
I just want to stop that there for a second. So I'm looking at her face and she's baked like every single person who bakes. So she's highlighted down the side of her nose, which makes the nose look smaller. She's done the top of her cheeks, around her eye, her chin, and the middle of her forehead. Here's the deal. Everyone's face shape is different. Now, Kylie has obviously had fillers in her face, cheek, jaw, chin, lips. I'm not against fillers at all. I've had some. They're absolutely fine. I think they're an incredible thing, but it changes the shape of your face. Fillers almost give that contoured look anyway, because you have like fillers up here, you have fillers in your nose, you have fillers in your jaw. So think of it as when you're filling your face with filler, you're expanding your face. Of course you are, you're putting something in there to make something bigger. So what she's done is she's highlighted where she has filler, here and here, and then she's made her nose smaller. So this is just me being really picky. Her nose now looks too small for her face because everything else is bigger. And then, if it's anything like I think it's gonna be, she's gonna bronze and contour her cheeks, which are gonna make her cheekbones look higher, which is gonna make her nose look even smaller. She's also gonna contour her nose. So if anything, I wouldn't have baked down the side of her nose. I would have maybe highlighted just down the middle here and then carried that on round right underneath to make it look longer, because now her nose looks tiny in comparison to the rest of her face. She has an amazing nose already. You don't need to touch that nose at all. If you want it just to blend with the rest of your face, just wax some highlighter like she did down the middle. And some soft bronzer. I mean, it's still going to make it look a tiny bit smaller, but not as small as it looks now, because her nose looks out of proportion with her face. And that's not me. I'm not trying to be horrible. That's just a picky thing.
I love that it doesn't make me look... It doesn't like take the color away. It keeps your face looking warm.
Do you see what I mean? Does that make sense? Like it looks very small.
Okay, so now that I'm all set, I'm gonna do my brows. So I like to do my brows next. This is shade medium brown. So my routine before, I would start with my brows to make them super snatched. But now I kind of, for my everyday routine, I like to just do them pretty fast and more natural. So I start with lining underneath and getting that shape.
That's such a good technique for brows. I think a lot of people go in and they just start to shade the crap out of their brows, whereas a really nice technique is to draw that shape, almost like a line, like a lining underneath your brow to get in that definition and that shape that you want, and then go from there. Yeah, it's a really nice way to do it. It gives you a clear outline and you can kind of see in the mirror that way if they're symmetrical or even. She has a really nice brow shape anyway, so it's quite easy to do with her brows.
And I kind of just line underneath my brow. I'm using the shade medium matte.
Oh, nice. Is that one of her products? I think it might be one of her products. That's a really good idea. I love that. I mean, I know it exists already, but oh, I love that. That's really nice. I've never used any of her products before, so maybe I would buy one of that. Looks really cool.
A beauty trend that I love right now are the rhinestones all over the eyes. Inspired by Euphoria, which I love that show, by the way. I definitely want to do a rhinestone look very soon. I'm gonna go right into my eyes. So for an everyday easy look, I always go for my bronze palette. Right in my crease.
So she's not gonna use an eye primer, but that's fine. You guys know how I feel about eye primers. I think they're necessary, but you know, whatever.
Really all you need is like one swipe, and I kind of blend it out. And then I go in little circles over here.
Wow, okay. Oh, let me pause it there. Can we just appreciate for 1 second that amazing shape that she's made there? That is very, I'll explain what I mean. She's made this really nice point. It comes all into a point. But I mean, I know people do that, but what's really nice about what she's done, which is you can tell she's kind of had a lot of practice, is that it almost looks like a straight line. That eyeshadow doesn't dip below her bottom waterline, which can make your eye look like it's sacking down, excuse me, which a lot of people do sometimes. They kind of blend out to here and then they just put liner on it and think everything's fine. Whereas that nice shape is gonna lift. It's a very precise shape. That's a very makeup artist thing to do. She's obviously has so much practice doing her makeup that she can make that really, really nice shape. It's beautiful and a lovely color as well.
Every time he does my eye, he goes in here and then he blends up into my brow, so I just like do that now. I don't know.
That's a really, really nice technique. And you know what? That actually makes her nose like a little bit longer because it's almost like you're elongating the bridge of her nose by darkening in there. So, I mean, I still think it looks too small the way she's baked it, but that helps. If you hear like chewing, that's my dog chewing. She's breathing heavy and chewing.
I'm gonna take Bronzite, which is like a really dark brown. I'm gonna take the tiniest bit. I'm gonna put it with this flatter brush, which is number 13. And then after I place it exactly where I want it to be, I'm gonna take my bigger brush, which is number 15, and I'm just gonna do a quick blend.
Yeah, that's a really, really great tip, to apply a darker color with one brush, just like tapping it in the area that you want it, and then blending out with a blending brush, whether it's one that you just used before for all your other colors or a clean one. That way you get a really soft blend if you don't want it to be too strong. And you can't really go wrong with it that way. You can just blend it out nice and softly. She's really amazing at doing her own eye makeup, which, I mean, I kind of expected, to be fair, but I don't know, I just assumed she always got her makeup done by a makeup artist. Let's go past the eyes now. I really want to see how she finishes up the rest of her face, in terms of her cheeks, because I just want to see how. Oh, there you go. So we're wiping off that bake
Underneath my eye, I'm gonna mix my bronzers, Tequila Tan and Toasty, and I'm gonna do this to contour my face and add some warmth back in here. So now that we're done with that, I'm gonna take beige now, just a tiny bit. I'm not gonna lie, I watched the Vogue video recently of me doing makeup and I like cringe at how much powder that I put under here. Because right now I really just do like super light powder. I'm gonna do a little bit of beige and then I'm gonna do some translucent like right over top.
So here's one thing about where she's applied her bronzer. I don't think it's very good. The way she's applied it is good, but the positioning, again, for her structure and her face is slightly off. Her face looks incredibly harsh. Here's one thing that a lot of people don't get, is that baking and bronzing the way she did, cutting off that area, is a technique that's used in drag makeup long before it was used on Instagram and things like that, to feminize the face. However, and to look theatrical. However, it can also make your face look extremely masculine. Her face looks very big. Her face looks really big now. She could have, her cheekbones are so high. She's gonna put highlighter on them, everything like that. She's carved out under here where she actually had natural definition without even using bronzer. I would have really softly just gone around the edges of her face and warmed out the outer edge and kept that definition there. Yeah, it's not to my liking. It's probably gonna look amazing at the end.
So I'm gonna mix some of my two favorite shades from my collection, Fatty on the Block and Winter Kissed. This is a very blue-based pink. This is more of a peachy vibe, but I think the mixture of them together is beautiful. So I'm gonna take my favorite blush brush, which is number 3. Put a little on my nose. I really put just all over my face. I'm just like.
Okay, whoa. Okay, so here's the deal. Again, this is, oh, I'm really itchy. Okay, so here's the thing with those colours. Again, coming from a professional view, she can do what she wants. The one on the left, I wouldn't choose for her. The one on the right, I would. Here's why. The one on the left has too much of it's too like that pastel pink, whereas the one on the right is that nice peach warm tone. She has this really nice golden tone to her skin. So a colour that will look great for her in terms of a blush is that peach. That pastel pink would look great on a really, really pale, almost bluey undertone skin, if that makes sense. I find it really difficult to find someone who suits those kind of colours. So it might stand out really obviously on her skin. The only reason I would say that is because the one on the left, when you put that kind of tone on someone's skin, it looks like a child using blush. It looks like, here's my blush. Do you know what I mean? Like, here. Whereas the one on the right will blend really nicely, look like she's got this natural blush kind of tone to her skin. Let me just show you something. And everyone does this, and sometimes when I'm doing like clients or models, if I'm doing their blush, they'll smile or they'll do this. It's like, stop doing that. Okay, here's my cheek. I'm gonna smile. You see my finger dropping down? So when you're applying blush like this, you think you're really lifting the cheeks and really applying it here. But when you actually walk around like this all day, your blush is actually way down here. I always apply makeup with a person's face how it's going to be all the time. You're not going to walk around like this all day, so why? It's like when people try on clothes and they breathe and they smooth everything down, they lift their chest and they look at you. Don't walk around like that. So I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to give the impression of it being lifted, but actually it goes down anyway. So if you want to give the impression of it being lifted, lift it on your face how it is normally. And that colour, I really don't like that. It's very pink. If that was just peachier, if she had just used that peach, I think it'd be really, really nice. It just doesn't blend into the bronzer either. That kind of pastel colour. Imagine a pastel colour mixing with a bronze. You get this muddy tone. You can see the join. You can see the outline of a bronzer and where the blusher sits. Ideally, you should want to blend and fade your blusher and bronzer. They should blend nicely. Almost like when you transition your eyeshadow with a transition shade. That's how I see blusher when you're using it alongside bronzer. That blush just looks like bronzer with a ball of blush on the end and a bit of bronzer underneath. It doesn't blend nicely at all. So let's see lips. She's really known for her lips, isn't she? She has a lip kit. I love that colour. I love that tone. See, she's gone for these really nice peachy, warm brown tones. Everywhere else, that's why I don't understand her blush choice in terms of that pink, because everything looks so nice. Oh, she's putting a colour similar on her lip. But again, it's still quite peachy.
Center only because I really
Just makes that blush stand out even more.
I'm so happy I did this for you guys, my routine.
Done. Okay, cool. So, of course, overall, her makeup looks absolutely stunning. Her skin looks amazing. Her eyes look incredible. Her brows are amazing. Her lips look amazing. Her nose, to me, still looks too small in comparison. I wish she didn't bake that nose. There was no need for it. That blusher, I really don't like the blush choice. I'm trying to hide, like, the background of her video and her pink top, because maybe that's making the colour change a little bit, but I really don't think it is. So there's just like two things I would change there. The blush choice, okay, more than two. Blush choice, positioning of a bronzer, which I would have done more of a halo effect around the outside of her face, rather than just using it here to make her have more of a bone structure. Her nose would be, I wouldn't bake her nose, I would elongate it slightly by highlighting right underneath the nose. And her blush choice, I would just suck to something a bit more peachier and have less of that pastel pink. Pink is fine, but a peachy pink, a pastel pink doesn't blend with her bronzer very well. It also doesn't blend with her skin tone very well. It just sits on her face. So that's pretty much it. I would love to know your guys' opinions below. Again, just a mini disclaimer, I don't hate her, I don't know her. I'm not telling you that you can't do what you want with your makeup. I'm trying to think of I've covered everything else. I'm not attacking her or her family. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Let me know what you think below. Let me know if you have any of her products, her Kylie makeup products, because maybe I might try some. I've never bought some or even tried them before. Yeah, so let me know your favorites below. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And also, what's the other thing? The bell, the notification bell. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you very soon. Bye.